We're standing right at the edge of an absolutely profound shift in human history. Today, we aren't just looking at a fancy new piece of software, we're actually exploring the restructuring of human cognition itself. Welcome to this explainer on co-intelligence, living and working with AI, where we're going to dive deep into the brilliant insights of Wharton professor Ethan Mollick. I really want you to consider the sheer gravity of this reality for a second. AI does not merely automate tasks, it amplifies thinking itself. For decades, right, we viewed machines as these brute force tools for processing ones and zeros. A calculator crunches numbers, a database stores records. But generative AI, it fundamentally breaks that mold. It amplifies our reasoning, our synthesis, our creativity. We are literally no longer just delegating our math, we are externalizing our logic. So I want you to pause and truly internalize this question. Are you thinking with AI or is AI thinking for you? Think back to the last major decision you made or the last complex problem you had to unravel. Was that conclusion entirely yours, or did an algorithm quietly, kind of invisibly steer your logic? As these models become so intimately embedded in our daily lives, the lines between our own intellect and machine output are starting to blur in some incredibly fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes unsettling ways. All right, let's get into part one, the restructuring of cognition. To really grasp this, we have to look back through the historical continuum. For thousands of years, our tools, from the humble plow to the massive steam engine, well, they amplified our physical labor. They allowed our bodies to do more. Later on, early computers amplified our calculations, letting us compute at the speed of light. But generative AI is doing something entirely unprecedented. It amplifies our very capacity to reason, to synthesize vast oceans of data, and to create. This isn't just a tool for the hands anymore. It's a tool for the mind. It's a massive evolutionary leap in how we process the world. And this brings us right to the core thesis of Professor Mollick's work, co-intelligence. We are rapidly, and I mean rapidly, moving away from an era of isolated human intelligence, where all knowledge generation just happens inside our own skulls. Instead, we're entering a phase of hybrid systems. Intelligence is becoming collaborative, it's distributed, and it's partially externalized. Imagine your mind no longer working alone, but networked directly with an entity that has essentially ingested all of human history. AI acts as this networked cognitive partner, a brilliant co-pilot for your brain, reshaping the very boundaries of what humans can do. Which leads us to part two, AI as a thinking partner. Think about how you truly learn. We humans, we naturally process ideas socially, right? We brainstorm, we fiercely debate, we passionately explain concepts to each other just to figure out what we actually believe. And because modern AI is fundamentally conversational, it inserts itself directly into this deeply human cognitive loop. We're essentially inviting a silicon entity into our most sacred space, our inner monologue. We aren't just pressing buttons on a sterile dashboard anymore. We are talking our way through complex problems with a tireless tutor and a vast sounding board. But there is a very real, very subtle danger here that we have to be acutely aware of. If we treat this digital tutor as an infallible oracle, co-intelligence can so easily devolve into cognitive dependency. It's this quiet, imperceptible atrophy of your own reasoning. Because think about it, if you stop doing the heavy lifting of thinking just because the machine hands you the answer instantly, your cognitive muscles are going to weaken. In this incredible new landscape, we absolutely must fight to remain active, dominant participants in our own minds. Let's move on to part three, the death of scarcity. We are witnessing the total collapse of traditional barriers right now. In the old world, information was scarce, execution was painstakingly hard, and the barriers to entry in almost any field were incredibly high. Today, the AI era completely flips that paradigm on its head. A total beginner can instantly write complex code, conduct deep research, or generate professional architectural designs. Execution has become practically free. Knowledge is radically democratized. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. Because everyone now has immediate access to the answers, critically rare human judgment becomes the ultimate premium. Which naturally leads us to a profound, truly society-altering question. If our entire educational infrastructure was historically built around the scarcity of information, the scarcity of feedback, and the scarcity of teachers, well, what is education actually for when AI generates sophisticated outputs instantly? When literally any student can summon a meticulously researched essay in milliseconds, what exactly are we testing? It's clear education can no longer just test the retention of facts. It has to pivot dramatically toward teaching systems thinking and the art of strategic reasoning. Now for part 4, the new creative economy. Because AI massively increases the supply of creative output, pure execution is now commoditized. I mean, you can generate 1,000 stunning images or compelling articles in an hour. When everyone on Earth can effortlessly create something that looks highly professional, human differentiation shifts entirely. The true value no longer lies in the act of production itself. Going forward, your ultimate advantage becomes your worldview, your striking originality, your emotional resonance. Raw authenticity is literally the new gold standard in a world flooded with artificial perfection. Let's pivot to part 5, the illusion of agency. The deepest danger outlined in all this isn't some cinematic, dystopian robot takeover. Not at all. The real danger is entirely invisible. It's the fact that AI increasingly mediates our cognition through subtle recommendations, quiet framing, and seemingly helpful decision support. Without ever consciously realizing it, we might gradually outsource our judgment, our quiet moments of reflection, and our deepest critical thinking. The machine isn't forcing you to obey. It's just making it unimaginably convenient for you not to think. And finally, part 6, the future of human thought. So, how does this reshape society? Well, this evolution creates a completely new cognitive hierarchy. Down at the bottom, you have passive AI consumers, the folks who just blindly accept generated outputs as absolute truth. In the middle, you've got AI operators, people who learn prompt engineering and know how to use the tools effectively. But up at the absolute peak are the cognitive architects. These are the rare individuals who will dominate future innovation because they can seamlessly weave human intellect, artificial intelligence, dynamic networks, and complex systems into one cohesive vision. And here is the crucial takeaway from all of this. The more AI can successfully calculate, synthesize, and execute for us, the more valuable our raw, unautomatable, deeply human capabilities become. We're talking about wisdom, ethical reflection, profound imagination, and meaning-making. Think about the difference between calculation and wisdom, right? An AI can instantly calculate the most efficient way to maximize profit by cutting parts of a business, but only a human possesses the wisdom to understand the long-term cultural devastation of that choice. These deeply human traits aren't just soft skills anymore. They are absolutely your primary survival mechanisms. I love this thought right here. In the age of infinite generated answers, the rarest skill may become asking profound questions. When answers are infinite and instant, merely possessing the answer is no longer a superpower. The future firmly belongs to those who can think deeply alongside AI, fiercely maintaining their adaptive thinking and their relentless curiosity. It's about looking through the noise of infinite data and asking that piercing, deeply profound question that the machine, with all its vast processing power, would simply never think to ask. So here we are at the ultimate philosophical frontier. As we network our cognition with these vast, silent machines, what actually happens to humanity when thinking itself becomes externalized? It's the defining question of our age. As you go out and navigate the algorithms and these breathtaking generative tools that are now interwoven into your daily life, ask yourself, how will you preserve your deeply human spark? I'll leave you to reflect on that.